The Fermi paradox. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, contains around 400 billion stars in the Milky Way alone, and hosts roughly 2 trillion observable galaxies. Even at a modest fraction of the speed of light, a single civilization could colonize our entire galaxy in about 10 million years, a blink of cosmic time. So given all that space, all that time, and all those stars, physicist Enrico Fermi asked a simple question over lunch in 1950 that nobody has satisfactorily answered since. Where is everybody? No signals, no megastructures, no visitors, just silence. The Great Filter. Robin Hansen introduced the Great Filter in 1998, and it is, depending on your optimism, either the most reassuring or most terrifying concept in science. The idea is straightforward. Something stops civilizations from spreading across the cosmos, and that something is either behind us or ahead of us. If the filter is behind us, if we already cleared something extraordinarily improbable, then we might genuinely be alone. If the filter is ahead of us, every civilization that reaches our level eventually destroys itself. Hansen noted the most chilling indicator. If we ever find complex life on Mars, it means the filter almost certainly hasn't happened yet. For us, abiogenesis, life, starting at all Earth, formed around 4.5 billion years ago, and the first evidence of life appears roughly 700 million years later. That sounds fast until you try to explain how it happened. We still have no confirmed mechanism for how dead chemistry became the first self-replicating molecule. The 1952 Miller-Urey experiment produced amino acids under simulated early Earth conditions, which was exciting, but amino acids are a long way from a living cell. The gap between interesting chemistry and life may require conditions so specific, a chain of molecular luck so improbable, that it happened once in this galaxy, and that once was here. The eukaryotic revolution. For roughly 2 billion years after life appeared, Earth had life, but only bacteria. Nothing with a nucleus. Nothing complex. Then, somewhere around 1.5 to 2 billion years ago, 2 separate cells merged in a way that had never happened before, producing the first eukaryote. A cell with a nucleus, compartments, and the machinery for real complexity. Biologist Lynn Margulis developed the endosymbiotic theory explaining this merger, and the implications are staggering. Without that one improbable fusion event, there are no plants, no animals, no fungi, nothing visible to the naked eye. Every complex living thing on Earth traces back to a single cellular accident that may never have been repeated anywhere else. The Cambrian explosion. For hundreds of millions of years after complex cells appeared, life remained mostly soft, flat, and featureless. Biological carpeting spread across the ocean floor. Then, approximately 538 million years ago, something triggered an eruption. In roughly 20 million years, nearly every major animal body plan that has ever existed appeared simultaneously. Eyes, legs, shells, jaws, bilateral symmetry. This is the Cambrian explosion, and scientists still debate exactly what caused it. What matters for the Fermi paradox is the alternative, a planet where this explosion never happens, where life stays in the slime stage indefinitely, never building anything capable of looking up at the stars and wondering what is out there. The rare Earth hypothesis. Paleontologist Peter Ward and astronomer Joe Brownlee argued in their 2000 book that Earth is not a typical rocky planet with life. It is a freakishly lucky one. Our moon, unusually large relative to Earth, stabilizes our axial tilt to around 23.5 degrees, preventing the kind of wild climate swings that would sterilize the surface. Jupiter, sitting in the outer solar system, acts as a gravitational shield, deflecting a significant portion of comets and asteroids that would otherwise pummel us constantly. Plate tectonics recycle carbon and regulate temperature across millions of years. Remove any one of these factors, and complex life likely never develops. The frightening possibility is that most planets are missing all three. The intelligence bottleneck life existed on Earth for approximately 3.8 billion years before one species started building cities. Dolphins are intelligent. Crows use tools. Octopuses solve puzzles. None of them built radio telescopes. Human-level cognition required a specific, simultaneous combination of opposable thumbs, bipedalism freeing the hands, large frontal cortex, and intricate social structures capable of passing knowledge across generations. Homo sapiens as a species are only around 300,000 years old. The first cities appeared roughly 10,000 years ago. We have been broadcasting radio signals for about 150 years. The window from clever animal to civilization capable of interstellar communication is vanishingly thin. And on most planets, that window may never open. And the self-destruction filter. We have had nuclear weapons for under 80 years. In that time, we came within minutes of global annihilation at least twice. During the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 and the Soviet early warning false alarm of 1983, when Stanislav Petrov unilaterally decided not to report what his system said were incoming American missiles. The current global stockpile sits at roughly 13,000 warheads, and that is before accounting for engineered pandemics, artificial intelligence misalignment, and self-replicating nanotechnology. Extinction vectors that did not exist a generation ago. The disturbing possibility is that the gap between discovers dangerous physics and uses it to end everything is measured not in millennia, but in decades. The climate stability window Earth has maintained liquid water on its surface for approximately 3.8 billion years. That streak is not normal. Venus likely had oceans for up to 2 to 3 billion years before a runaway greenhouse effect turned it into a 465-degree pressure cooker. Mars had liquid water and a magnetic field, then lost its magnetosphere around 4 billion years ago, after which its atmosphere bled away into space and its surface froze. A civilization needs millions of years of stability just to evolve, then thousands more to develop technology. A planet that tips into a Venus scenario or a Mars scenario before intelligence emerges never produces anyone to ask why the sky is silent. The Dark Forest. Theory. Chinese author Liu Cixin proposed one of the most unsettling answers to the Fermi paradox in his 2008 novel, Civilizations Exist, but They Are Hiding. The logic runs like this. Resources in the universe are finite. The intentions of any alien civilization are ultimately unknowable, and the cost of being wrong about trusting someone is extinction. Therefore, the rational move is silence, and, if you detect another civilization, preemptive elimination before they eliminate you. Every civilization reaches this conclusion. The universe becomes a dark forest where everyone holds their breath and extinguishes their fires. The deeply uncomfortable implication for us is that Earth has been broadcasting its location via radio signals for roughly 100 years, painting a growing bubble of noise 100 light-years across into that silent forest. The simulation hypothesis and zoo theory. Two fringe but serious frameworks try to explain the silence differently. The zoo theory, proposed by John Ball in 1973, suggests advanced civilizations are deliberately avoiding contact, watching us develop like animals in a nature preserve, waiting for some threshold we have not yet crossed. The simulation hypothesis, developed philosophically by Nick Bostrom in a 2003 paper, argues that if post-physical civilizations can run simulations of conscious minds, simulated minds almost certainly vastly outnumber real ones, meaning the odds favor us being inside a computation rather than the base reality. Neither theory is scientific consensus, and both raise an equally troubling question. If either is true, what happens when the observers decide the experiment is over? The final reckoning. What it means if we're last. The observable universe, spans roughly 93 billion light-years, contains around 2 trillion galaxies, and has been expanding for 13.8 billion years. In all of that space, across all of that time, we have found precisely zero confirmed evidence of anyone else. If even one of the filters discussed here is real and nearly insurmountable, the silence makes complete sense. If we somehow cleared several of them through a chain of luck so improbable it strains comprehension, then we may be carrying something unique. The only record that consciousness ever existed in this corner of the cosmos. Every war we start, every species we drive extinct, every existential risk we ignore carelessly is not just a tragedy for Earth. It may be a tragedy for the universe. The silence is not peaceful. It is a warning. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.